Welcome to episode 74 of the Friendly
Wait,
Sports
Jake. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jacob. Happy birthday to you.
Big 3-9.
Guess that is what I deserve for joining the pre-call conference last. That is.
We had a lot of time to think.
Well, thank you, fellas. Thank you. I will say, biggest reason I love my birthday is nothing with the birthday itself, but it's placed right in just the cusp of March, and it's absolutely beautiful. Sometimes it falls on that first Thursday game, one day off, but March is here, gentlemen. March is absolutely here. Brackets are out. The exact times are there. Official games start tomorrow. I don't know your guys' thoughts on the first four, but we get the appetizer. The full dish starts at 12:15 Thursday. The Ohio State Buckeyes. Absolutely phenomenal. Ellen, what are your instant thoughts? March starts tomorrow.
I'll go ahead. This is going to be an interesting episode. We were having, like Jacob just mentioned, the pre-episode conference, and Hunter said something that it's going to make us probably disagree a little bit later down the line in some of our takes. So I'm excited to get into it. We actually haven't talked much about each other's brackets, so it'll be interesting to see if we're mostly aligned, maybe not aligned. We'll have the open bracket challenge that's being ran on our TikTok, so hopefully one of us can get it done so we don't have to coordinate a prize for anyone and prove that we actually know some ball around here. But lots at stake. March is here, as you said. It's a good time to be alive.
Yes. That's your segue?
I could not agree. Carter, I could not agree more. I mean, you summed it up. It's phenomenal.
All right, well,
man.
let's get into it. Like we talked about, we'll kind of go around the horn here. First question I feel like we should ask is, who are your favorites? Or who's your favorite? Who's a team you like? Maybe not even to win it, but just that you have a lot of confidence in this.
I'll start here.
Yeah, thank you. Oh.
No,
I want Jacob to start.
No, yeah, I was ready for this question. But no, please, all by all means.
No, I insist. It's your birthday. Please.
All right. So I think
What a chaotic start here.
every year, I don't know if this happens for you guys, I think I have an epiphany and I solve March. And my epiphany this year, and they never work, but I'm always excited for them. My epiphany this year, it's all about coaches. You go with the coaches that win in March. That is why I'm choosing Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino, give me the Johnnies. Don't have exactly a necessarily too difficult of a path. They face if they win their first game, they're going to face Kansas. Kansas is maybe the most fraudulent team in this bracket, which I guess we'll get to. They're horrible. They're not winning a thing. Give me the St. John Johnnies. He just wins. The man goes anywhere and he wins. He may be. No, he is. He's a top 5 college coach of all time, maybe top 3. Give me St. John's. I love St. John's. They are making the Sweet 16 at least. No doubt in my mind.
Were they not out in the round of 32 last year?
I don't think so. I thought they lost in the Sweet 16.
No, because I had them in my Final Four, and I was quite perturbed when they lost to a 10 seed.
Johnny, Jake Carter, was the question favorites, or was it extreme dark horses out of the rear end?
We said a team you liked and no difficulty in. I have a champion.
Well, I thought we were getting to the epiphany section later.
No,
an
St.
epiphany
John's.
Heard it
I
right
mean,
away.
No,
they're
there's not an epiphany section, but he asked, "What team do you like?" He said, "I've had an epiphany."
listen.
Well, I mean,
St. John's is a good team. They just got to be able to shoot.
Great.
And I don't know if
guess,
they can shoot.
I'm big on the Hawkeyes, I guess, if we want to get going here. No, I'm kidding.
They're a
I would be
5
remiss.
seed.
Calm down. I would be remiss not to talk about the Arizona Wildcats.
Okay.
I would say that's probably
Good
my
chalk
favorite.
early.
They have been the most complete team all year, and to not mention Arizona would just be a flaw. Do I have them winning? I'm not sure yet. I'm really not sure yet. However, if you were to ask me before the tournament who the favorites are, you should mention more than likely Arizona or the team up north.
All right. Well,
I
we know
guess I
who
may have
orders-
misunderstood the question then, because I would like to change my answer. I don't know. We're just picking just like the odds-on favorites.
Jackson, what do you think?
Well, about Arizona specifically, I don't think they win the championship. I'm a big believer in genes carry on. And, LeBron's never been much for one to win championships. He's lost more than he's won. Bryce James is on Arizona. So I don't expect that to bode well for Arizona. Nonetheless, the distraction of the King. I don't think that's going to help when he's tweeting after the round of 32 how great Arizona is. I think it's going to be a distraction. That's my thoughts on Arizona. Teams I like. I do like UConn, and I know that's not a great pick there because, it's UConn. They've won 2 championships a couple of years ago back to back. But I love Dan Hurley in March. If we're going to Jake's epiphany, I do love Dan Hurley. I think he's a phenomenal coach.
It's the formula.
I like UConn's roster more this year than I did last year. And I think their roster last year was better, even though they were a lower seed. I just think they had a lot of weird things that happened last year. However, if I had to pick a little surprise team I think that can make a run, I really like the Miami Hurricanes at number 7.
Hold on. We'll get there. Who is like your favorite? Going back to that question.
Favorite to win the whole thing?
So we'll circle back to the Cinderella. Who's a team that you really like that's like an upper echelon, not like a Cinderella Miami situation, but like
UConn?
5 and up seed? Like, is UConn, is that your team for you?
That I think can win the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, UConn.
Or you can say your title favorite if you want.
No, I'd say UConn.
Well.
I think UConn's an upper echelon team that can win the whole thing. I like UConn.
I would agree with that take. I'm gonna go a little bit different and kind of more of like Jake's answer. I don't have them winning a championship, but I think they're one of the last. How far they go is one of the last things I'm kind of tinkering with. But I, for some reason, am infatuated with this Illinois team. I know everyone's on Penn. I'm not taking Penn. I'm not super high on UNC, so I think if they beat Penn, they're going to beat UNC.
VC.
Yes, Jack.
I'm not sure what you mean everyone's on Penn because I'm looking at the picks right now and it's 13 million to 1 million in favor of Illinois.
I see at literally all of my TikTok.
I would actually say it's a very high amount for a 14 seed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
1 million picked a 14 seed.
Well, let's look
I
at the
would
other.
say that's actually a good chunk. That's fair.
I've
I've seen a
average.
good
I feel
chunk of
like Penn's an
videos
average.
picking.
Kennesaw State's at 700,000. That's the best value because Gonzaga's terrible. Wright State's at 730.
They lost their player. Star player.
How do I do this? I'm so bad with technology.
We can
someone
move.
fill the dead
There's a
air time.
decent amount of people. picking
So
Penn.
Illinois, Carter. Can I be honest?
You go for it. Well, do you want me to finish my point or do you want to respond right now?
Finish your point and then I'll respond.
Cal Baptist also at 1 million. So 2 of them are at 1 million.
Yeah, that's probably
That's a
pretty high.
13th. Yeah.
Dang it. Sorry.
Okay,
It's
so
13
God
over,
forbid,
but-
God forbid I say people that I've seen will like Penn. But anyway, it's a common upset I've seen picked if people are picking upsets. That's my whole point. I think if Illinois wins that game, they beat the winner of UNC versus VCU. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and assume they see Houston. That's the game where I don't know if I have the balls to pick them, because I do like me some Samson-led Cougars, if I can say the name there, and just
Calvin
how they
Johnson.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah, just how they play basketball. I like them. So, but I like Illinois in a spot where I think some people don't. Jacob, your point you were going to make.
I have 2 points. First point to yours. I hate Illinois. I don't think they're a tournament team. I think they're a solid, like a really good Big Ten team. I just don't see tournament success. My second point is what I think is the beauty of this podcast. I think we don't say that we're experts, but we're also not idiots. But for me, there's a feel thing with St. John's, and he does seem like a winning coach. Last year he did lose in the second round, so hand up on me. But overall, he is. Hold on, I just had it up. 55-22 in March Madness, which is fantastic. So I still think that holds for coaches do well.
It's interesting. Yeah. See, Carter, I'm actually a big fan of this Illinois team. I don't see a shot in hell they're beating the Kingston Flemings and Houston. I wanted to actually bring Illinois.
I agree.
I wanted to bring Illinois somewhat further down my bracket, like Elite Eight territory. I just don't know if I see a world where they can get by the Cougars. But the first 2 rounds, I think they should win with relative ease. I say that now. I know Penn's got this TJ Power kid who everyone's freaking talking about going for 40. I don't really buy it. North Carolina and VCU suck ass, so I don't really care about that game. Illinois should comfortably get to the Sweet 16, but that Houston game is going to be a complete buzzsaw.
Yeah. So with that being said, and we'll kick it right back to Jack, because he kind of mentioned it earlier. Who's a Cinderella team? 6, 7 seed. Okay, a 6 or 7 seed that or higher that you think can make a run to the Sweet 16 / Elite 8.
I do like, I'm pulling up my bracket here. I do like Miami. I like the way they play. I also like
Me and Jack are agreeing on a lot.
I like their
weird.
matchup. I don't know if this is necessarily a Cinderella. I think they're underseeded, but I like UCLA. I feel great about them beating UCF, but then again, they do play UConn, so I don't love that. Well, the one other, I'll tell you what, another double-digit seed team I could see making a run. I think this is the year of the 11 seeds. I don't necessarily love Texas over BYU, but if Texas beats BYU, I love Texas over Gonzaga. I think I do think in the West region, I think the West region is going to be most prone to upsets. Other than that, no, those would be my 2, both in the West. I like Miami and I like Texas. I think I'm going to pick BYU over Texas. But if Texas can get past BYU, I really do think both of those teams can make the Sweet 16, and then one of them would end up making the Elite 8. So I think the West region is most prone to upsets this March.
Hunter, Jake.
Yeah.
Can I speak on Jack's point there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes,
Jake.
go for it, Jake.
He was talking about the 11 over a 6 seed. Maybe this could be wrong again. I think March is a lot of just a feel thing for me, and that's why I think it's beautiful. I always like to pick one of the 11 seeds from the play-in game to then win their next game, because they already have a game under their belt. They have no rust, and they're just ready to go, and they start hot. So I really like the Texas pick over BYU.
Yeah. That's a good point. And I think I read some stat when I was watching that game. They put it on the screen. It's like at least one of the first 4 play-in winners have gone on to then win their next game for like the past 13 years. Don't know if I got that right.
It's not going to be Miami.
A substantial amount of years from the Big Ten over there. I'm a make-believe Tennessee fan. Anyway, Jacob, Hunter, one of you, Cinderella teams.
That was a crazy stray for Hunter.
That seemed perfect.
That's why he just said it, because he's not picking.
Hunter, not picking. I thought that was uncalled for. I don't know why that had to happen.
I mean, jeez.
Mr. Big Ten, big Tennessee fan over there.
I
That dude
guess,
out of nowhere too.
yeah, no, that's fine. I'll go next, I guess. I do kind of like the Texas pick. I feel like a lot of people are just kind of chalking BYU in, and I know they have AJ Dybamsta. Like, obviously, that dude's a freaking stud, but Richie Saunders out for the year. Like, a majority of the starting lineup is honestly kind of average. They have a decent big guy, but like, I could absolutely see a scenario where AJ goes for like 30, and the rest of the team just kind of shits the bed a little bit. So I actually really like that Texas one, Jack. I would say the team I'm high on, if we're going like 6th seed and up, I really like the UCLA team, and I'm not very high on UConn. I could see an easy scenario where UCLA gets by UConn, they get by Michigan State, and they're in the Elite Eight fighting for a Final Four spot. Their backcourt is absolutely electric. Tyler Billadell, one of their best players, their leading scorers, is phenomenal. And they've been kind of clicking on the right time. And there's something about Mick Cronin that just like kind of makes me feel like he's sold his soul to the devil a little bit. Slightly makes me think he's going to succeed in March. So I don't know why. It's more of a gut feeling. I see Mick Cronin potentially making a run, and I hate to say that because I don't like the guy, but I do think that is a team to watch.
Mick
We're going
Cronin
6
or the
seeds and up.
devil?
Mick Cronin sold his soul to the devil. I firmly believe that.
I know, but you said you don't like the guy. I'm asking which guy don't you like, the devil or Mick Cronin?
Well, both are pretty
both.
bad. Mick Cronin sucks.
Who would you say is worse?
Probably the devil, I would lean. But Mick Cronin's just an asshole. He's just not a good dude. I hate the way he just portrays himself. Part of me thinks, like I said, I think he sold his soul to just make a March Madness run, and that team's been clicking. They're hot. They play in, I think, the best conference in basketball. I could see him sneaking by a Big East UConn. They play Michigan State tough in the tournament. Man, I hate to do it. I really do, but I think they could be an Elite Eight team.
Could I speak on that for a second?
Yes, and then give us your Cinderella team right after.
Yeah.
Floor is yours.
So I'm usually there's two teams that if they are higher seed, I always pick them to go far, and those teams are usually always UCLA and Oregon. Oregon with Altman, they always win the tournament, and then Cronin always wins in the tournament. This is the first year of not picking them to win the first two games, and it's because I think Cronin legitimately hates his team. If you've seen the way he speaks about his ball club, I legitimately think he has such a distinct anger towards every single one of his players, and he just wants the season to be over. So that's why I'm picking to lose in the first round, because I legitimately think he hates his team right now, even if they win.
Can I speak on that?
Of course.
You know, we were recently at the Ohio University versus Miami Redhawks basketball game, and Hunter had a good discussion. We need to bring back some pettiness and rivalries, and I completely agree with him. And to Jake's point about Cronin hating his team, I think we need more of that in coaching. I think that's missed out on now. Coaches are so worried about securing the NIL. They're worried about, we must please everybody. We have to baby and coddle these players. I miss when coaches would go to their press conference and say, so-and-so is the worst player I've ever seen, and he's the reason we lost that game, and he should be ashamed of himself. I think sports needs more of that. I really do. I really do mean that.
It was the first time we saw a coach eject his own
honestly,
player in the game.
And it was awesome. We need more of it.
But that's not what I was going for. I love, that's why I always pick Cronin, because he's so hard in his players. But deep down under that hate is what he had to stick. He still loved his team, and he loved those players. I think under that hate is just this ball of hate. Like, it's the center of hate, and there's no love whatsoever. So I think if they go down 10 points, ball game over. If they're down by more than 10 points, they're done for it. They're done. It is how I see it. I could be wrong. But my Cinderella pick, Carter.
Yes, rip it.
Oh man. So I have two that's a 6 seed or above. I'll go with one that's kind of just better known. I love Tennessee, which I'm surprised Hunter didn't say, because Hunter's a Tennessee stan over there. They have two guys that are guard and a big that can just put the ball in the bucket and just organize the offense, and Amet and Gillespie.
Yeah.
I was able to see them. I was able to see them in a lost and against Vanderbilt because they just couldn't hit a bucket. But Amet is a dog, and Gillespie can get hot from three. So I
Man,
love
Matt's so
Tennessee,
good.
and they have Okpara from Ohio State. They have a really solid ball club, and I just love their path. My second team, and this is going to be well, I guess I'll get to my team that I really going to love this year. But this team I think makes the Sweet 16. I love Santa Clara. Absolutely love Santa Clara. First
Yeah.
game they play, I think the coach I hate the most. If anyone watched the BYU Duquesne game from last year, Hope the coaches like it's a word I'm not going to say, but he is not coached like a man. He lets his team get run up and down and just gets dominated by brutality. And just by
Yeah, I do
any
hate Mark
type of
Pope.
aggression, he falls down and just cries and pouts. But any team that he coaches from now on, I will pick to lose. But I do like Santa Clara. They do have a couple good wins. They were able to compete against some of the bigger schools. They're a three-bid conference in the WCC. I love Santa Clara. I have them going to my Sweet 16.
Yeah. Beating
Nice.
Iowa State, though.
I could see that happening.
Hold on. We talked about Kentucky. You think they can beat Iowa
Yeah.
State?
Indubitably.
Indubitably.
And let me be
Correct
clear.
no.
Let me be clear. I said I could see that happening. I could see them beating Kentucky. I'm not really on board with the Iowa State take. But I'll go ahead because I have two as well. One, Jack touched on, I agree with Miami. I cannot stand Purdue. Miami gets up in your face, and Purdue will wilt. If Miami can get past Missouri, I think they have a favorable matchup against Purdue and can find themselves in the Sweet 16, depending on a good, solid matchup they get, and they get a good night of shooting. All of a sudden, they're an Elite Eight. And I think it's definitely hard this year just because I think there's like 5 or 6 teams that are just so much better than everyone else. I don't know if you guys have felt that looking at these brackets, but I could see a lot of upsets on day one. But as it gets later in the rounds, I'm having a hard time not having a lot of chalk per se.
Yeah.
But my other one, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, I made a TikTok about Texas Tech earlier this year, how I thought they could be a team that could win it. Obviously, JP goes down with the season-ending injury, and it's just a shame that happened. So obviously, prayers to him still. But I was informed, and I didn't even know this, and this is a spur of the moment. This is why I love March, because there's less than 24 hours until the first game starts, and I have a new spur of the moment team. The words shoot to get hot, or we don't shoot to get hot, or we don't shoot to stay hot, we shoot to get hot, or something like that. Whatever the Akron coach said, you know what I'm trying to say. That's a tough moment for me right there.
No, you got it. That was it. That was the second one.
And the two Mac boys right now are losing their minds. But my high school coach, shout out Coach Geschke, man, would always say that. And there's just something about that phrase that as a player just fires you up. You're just like, my coach has my back, and I'm about to go out there and shoot to get hot. And for some reason, I'm now a believer in Akron. And I know they're from the MAC. It doesn't look good. They play Texas Tech, who's a good team even without JP. But
JT.
is it JT? Have I been calling JP the entire year? It's JP Toppin, I thought. JT Toppin? JT Toppin. Once again, butchering names. That's completely on me. And I literally, that's so bad. But anyway, for some reason, I'm a believer in Akron now. I think they have a chance to make a Sweet 16 if they, follow their coach's suggestion. And I'm sure the Mac boys have some responses to that. So go ahead and give those responses now, I guess. Nothing. It's a silent.
Well, I thought Jay was going to start. I'll start. The beauty about March is that you can say if someone's pick is so stupid, yet there's a good chance it's going to happen just because March is so random. But I'll just say this now. I think that's dumb. I was talking about with a friend with this. Akron and their head coach is one of the most well-run programs in the nation with the resources they have. Grace should be given a top-level job and should give him another chance because he is a great coach. The issue, though, is that he builds Akron like one of these bigger schools, but makes it towards MAC level, which is great for the MAC play and MAC tournament and just that type of setting. But when he gets to those bigger teams, he's facing teams at the same organization structure. They just have superior players. Usually those upsets in March is you get the diversity in styles, and you get a style that just they can't handle, like FDU being Purdue. Purdue, Dickinson didn't have a single player over like 6'7", but they were just able to shoot. They were able to shoot the three and just play a different style than Purdue. So I don't think Akron will ever do. They're going to need a very specific matchup in the tournament to win, and I don't think this is this year.
I see. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. Like I said, I wasn't even on Akron until the pre-episode meeting, and Hunter told me that quote, and I was like, huh, well,
So
Can we trust you off?
I'm in.
You want to stick with the guy whose phone just ran out of storage and got kicked off the pod? That's who you're rolling. That's who you're rolling with.
I'm not sticking with him. I'm sticking with the greatest quote in all of sport.
You want to
that I butchered
that as the greatest quote of all of sports.
Dude, you know how freeing that is as a player? Shoot to get hot, shoot to stay hot.
Which is fantastic
Yeah,
if
come
those
on.
players were not MAC players, and I love the MAC.
No, that's fair, and that's a that's a good point there. Hunter looks a little deranged coming back into the recording here.
Those mugshot eyes.
You all right?
Yeah.
Welcome back. All right, well, let's keep it moving along here. Who is a team that you think is wildly overrated? And try to stick to one because there's a couple.
Please. Please.
Oh, all right, Jackie.
We all know West Coast basketball is not real basketball. The two teams that I just
Wait, hold on, time out. Did you not just pick UCLA to go far?
Yeah, and then I saw they were playing UConn, so they get to the round of 32.
I apologize.
No, it's your birthday. No need. Two teams I hate. I hate Gonzaga, and Jake, you're going to hate this. I hate the St. Mary's Gales. I hate them every year. I do not like them. I think I love A&M over St. Mary's, and I like Gonzaga out in the round of 32.
Interesting. I strongly disagree.
Okay.
Don't hate it. I'm losing the Sweet 16, but I'm not a big fan of Gonzaga either.
But I'm also on the island with Gonzaga a lot of the time.
Yeah, I'll go next here. I am not a fan of this Virginia team at all. I saw the Buckeyes play them. Ohio State sucks. They are not a good ball club, especially a month and a half ago. They are not good. That Buckeyes team easily should have won that game. And on top of that, I'll stay in the same region here. Alabama's best player just got arrested for about 6 pounds of weed in his apartment, or damn near best player. Like, the Alabama and Virginia, I think could be out extremely early. I'm still going back and forth on the Hofstra game just because I don't know if I can pull the trigger on it. But I think the winner of Tech Akron is a Sweet 16 team. And honestly, same with the Virginia, or same with the Wright State game, or Tennessee BYU. One of those three teams is going to be a Sweet 16 team. Virginia is losing, and Alabama is losing within the first or second round.
Yeah, I mean Alabama, they've had no problem with players pulling triggers, so don't be scared to pick that game, Hunter, for Hofstra. You think it'd be fair to say that Nate Oates is like the Kirby Smart of college basketball? Talented program, but all their players just commit crimes.
Kirby Smart wins. So
I mean, in the sense that they're both talented programs and their players commit copious amounts of crimes, typically at the worst time imaginable.
Copious amounts of crime.
that's an interesting take. Jacob? I don't hate that take, Jack, actually, now that I think about it.
I love all what Jack said is correct, and Hunter just took both the teams I was going to choose. He stole my number one, so I'm like, all right, I'll get Alabama here, and then he took both. I think I've been anti-Alabama and Arkansas for the past 3 years. I'm actually surprised because usually Hunter's the usually one that comes back at me for hating those teams. But now I got to find a different one. I really
Arkansas is
I'm
Arkansas. Don't say Arkansas.
I'm gonna support his Virginia take. We'll get to Arkansas. I also hate. I don't. People really like Virginia, and I know they have the UMBC coach from a while ago as their current coach. They're a solid team, but I'm with Hunter here. I watched that Ohio State Virginia game, and I can't get that image out of my mind that they're a 3 seed. And one of my teams I think that's going to go far is Tennessee, that I really like. So I have Tennessee beating Virginia, and I feel extremely confident in that game. So I'm going to support um, Hunter's take and Virginia going down.
Which leaves me. So the two teams I have, one, I cannot stand Alabama. I think Alabama is absolutely horrible. They play no defense. And I understand it works to go score 150 points, but what happens just like last year in the tournament when you have an off night and you have no defensive anchor or even concept on how to play defense? It reminds me of some of the high school teams we used to play where like they're just pressed the entire game, and
and
once you beat the press, it
they're
was like
playing,
you win by 60.
even if they get by Hofstra, they're playing Tech or Akron. Like two very, very good defensive ball clubs, even without JC Toppin. If Tech can get by Akron, I think Tech is going to destroy Alabama, to be honest.
Yeah,
Well, and they're not going to get rushed, and that's what
Yeah.
Alabama wants. They want to play at a track meet speed, and
Yeah.
Tech and Akron both have really good guards that aren't going to allow that pace of play to dictate. So I don't like them. But here's the one that people are not going to like, and I'm still flirting with how far I want to take them. I'm not saying they're on like upset watch round 1 by any means, or even round 2. But I think Duke's in trouble. I think Duke has the injury bug at the worst time. I think they're in the hardest region, without a doubt. And I'm seeing a lot of people just pencil them in to the Final Four without thinking twice about it. And I think that is a mistake. And what are your guys' thoughts on that? Is what I want to, is my question to you all. Like I'll give you some examples because I guess that's kind of weird. I think a Bruce Thornton, as Hunter mentioned, 40 ball could get them knocked out of the tournament. I think TCU having a solid game and them not playing up to their standard, they're out. St. John's and Kansas are both capable of beating them. Michigan State is capable of beating them. UCLA is capable of beating them, and UConn is capable of beating them. Especially not at full strength and not playing great. And I'm not high on Cameron Boozer, especially if he plays against teams like Michigan State and especially UConn. If UConn were to make it to the Elite Eight, who have NBA bigs, I don't think Cameron Boozer would be the best player on the floor like he has been against some of these teams where he's able to just be a physical bully on the block.
I'll say a couple things here. I love Duke. I think they're an Elite Eight team. They're going to win the first game. They're going to kill them. I don't see a world where Ohio State or TCU beats them. I just don't see it. And then Sweet 16, I also don't see a world where St. John's or Kansas beats Duke. Duke is significantly better than both those teams. So I feel great about Duke winning their first 3 games. What was your other one?
Elite Eight would be Michigan State.
UConn, UCLA, or Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Yeah, those two could beat Duke, but I feel great about Duke winning their first 3. And I guess let me go against the grain even more. I feel really, really good about Alabama making the Sweet 16. I feel really good about it.
Can I also support that point? Because I forgot to mention that as much as I hate Alabama, whenever I pick against them, they go far, or they win the first 2 games. They're just Sweet 16 and out, like white on rice, just consistent. Never farther, never before.
Yeah,
for your point though, Carter.
Go ahead, Jake.
Oh, sorry. You're like slightly delayed, so I don't want to interrupt. For Duke, I like them, don't love them. I have them losing to St. John's in the Sweet 16. It's also because I think teams are starting to adjust to Boozer not being able to shoot at all. And I forget who was in the ACC tournament. They just didn't guard him, and they really struggled. And I think if you get to a St. John's team that's really physical and can play that tight defense with great bigs, that's why I think they could struggle and they could really just not score. And that's where I think Duke gets in trouble. So I am out in the Sweet 16, but I don't hate I think there's opportunities where Duke can struggle, and they're in a very difficult part of the bracket.
Yeah, I'll back it up. I agree with a lot of what you said. I don't agree with it enough to the point where I think I can pick a Michigan State or a UConn or a St. John's over them. You said it earlier.
That
I think
and
there's
that's fair
I
because
think
yeah,
I think there's 5 to 6 teams that have been standing out all year, and Duke is one of those teams. I've seen bumps in the road from St. John's,
100%.
Michigan State, UCLA, UConn. Like if I'm gonna bet my life on it, I gotta go with Duke, I think. And I just think Duke is so much deeper than those other teams, to be honest. I think a UConn game could give them trouble, but I don't think UConn really makes it past the round of 32. So I guess with my bracket, it'd be Michigan State, and I just think Duke matches up well with Michigan State. And like it's like I don't like Duke necessarily, but I think they're good enough to make it
You don't like
to
any of the
the
options,
Final
yeah,
Four.
and that's fair. There are definitely some problems with some of the other teams in this region. I just think, I mean, maybe I'm wrong by saying this. I think the East region is by far the best region. Like there's a couple teams I look at in the East
Yeah.
region. If
Oh
they
yeah.
were in another
Yeah.
region, I would have serious thoughts about them being in a Final Four. That
Yeah. I
just
agree.
can't because there's not enough. There's only one team that makes it to the Final Four. So speaking of that, we have now, everyone knows their region. So here's what we're going to do. Each of the four of us are going to break down one specific region. We're then going to have a Final Four where we will then debate and eventually pick our frenemies champion of who we think that's going to be. Obviously, we all have our own individual brackets that you can go ahead and join that group if you're listening to this before the game start, or just follow along because I'm sure we'll be posting updates of the four of us. But is there anyone that would like to go first and break down
I'll
their
I'll, I'll start I'll
region?
start top left in
Or
the
would you like
East.
me to do it?
Yeah, no, I'll start top
Okay.
left in the East. Are we thinking like a game by game here, or teams I like, or what are we thinking here?
Yep. Just run through it. Give it like 5 to 10
All right,
seconds
yeah,
each game, unless
yeah.
it's like a
Obviously,
116 seed and you don't want to do that.
Ohio State 2CU, I honestly think it's a 50-50 toss-up. I think if these teams played 10 times, 5 out of 10 times the team wins. I don't really know with that one. I don't think Northern Iowa's very good. St. John's going to win that. Cal Baptist is interesting. I know they have like I forget his name. I think it's Dom Daniels or something like that. This one stud that they have. And I'm not a massive fan of Kansas. I could easily see Kansas losing this game. I don't know if I'm going to pick Cal Baptist, but I could definitely see an upset there. South Florida, I like a lot. I think the entire world is on the South Florida upset pick, it seems like. But it just makes so much sense with their defense and Mikal Brownlee, those best player being out. I don't see a world where they lose that, to be honest. Michigan State, obviously, UCLA. I really like this UCLA team. I said it earlier. I could see them easily being UConn in the second round. I'm going to do what Jack did a couple years ago, where he kind of hinted at a 15 seed, but he's not going to really throw it out, throw his nuts on it. If there's a 15 seed that wins, it's going to be Furman against UConn, just because they're a purple school, no other reasoning. But I think a final Elite Eight
I love
matchup
that.
here.
I
Yeah,
love.
yeah. I
You
think
can
I
you can
think
go
I
in the
think
round of 32 if you want to,
yeah. I'll keep going
and go
here.
down that if you want to do all of them.
I like Ohio State, obviously. I just because I go there. That's the only reason I'm picking them. Do I think they win? I don't really know. Like I said earlier in the TikTok, if Bruce Thorne goes for 40, they have a chance. But Duke's going to win. They're going to head to the Sweet 16. St. John's going to be a Sweet 16 team. I see a world. I think it's potential coin flip that South Florida could be a Sweet 16 team. I feel like the whole world's on that, but I could see them beating Michigan State. UCLA is going to beat UConn. I'm fairly confident in that one. I hate this UConn team. Not a fan at all. Um, let's see. I think Duke beats St. John's. I think that's an absolute war, though. I'm still really torn on the South Florida Sweet 16 pick, just because I don't know if they can get by Michigan State. But for this sake, we're going to say they do. UCLA gets by UConn. You have South Florida, UCLA. UCLA wins that Elite Eight of UCLA and Duke. I'm going Duke out of that region.
Okay, so the Frenemies East region representative is Duke. Is there
Yeah.
anyone that would like to go next?
I guess I can finish off the top of the bracket. I've got the West, and so Arizona, they beat Long Island. Although if there's a 16 seed to win this year, pins up. That would be awesome. I would absolutely love that. Now, I will say, I'm looking at my bracket right now as I go through this, and the West is the only region I don't have the first round done because I'm so torn. I love Arkansas over Hawaii. I have no doubts about that. Villanova, Utah
Can I get a
State. I mean,
time? Can I get a
you can
T?
you get 30.
Um, so Vermont did not make the tournament this year. Neither did UC Santa Barbara. So I was in a little bit of a pickle of trying to choose teams that I can get behind and really love. Um, the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, there are two things that they have. One, they just have a bunch of tall guys, and two, they don't believe in help defense. Yes, it's true. They don't play help defense. They shock the world. Love the Rainbow Warriors. Sorry, Jackson, proceed.
No, that's
Same.
fine. Good use of a timeout. Unfortunately, it did not work. Arkansas kills them. Um, other than that, obviously Purdue's going to kill Queens. That might be a 40-point game. Here's where I get a little worried. I'm not sold on Wisconsin. I like Wisconsin, but I'm not sold on them. I could see High Point winning this game, but I think you go Wisconsin. BYU Texas. I hate this. I hate this part of the bracket because I hate BYU, I hate Texas, and I hate Gonzaga, and I don't have the stones to pick Kennesaw State to beat Gonzaga because a couple of years ago I picked Kennesaw State in one of their first tournament games, and they
And they
were
got
up by
demolished.
double digits late in the second half. Well, whoever I forget who they were playing, and that was the game that ended my perfect bracket. That was the
Oh yeah,
hottest
yeah,
I've
yeah,
ever
yeah.
started. I had the first you remember this? I had like the
Yeah,
Who
yeah,
was
first
I
it?
do.
50
Yeah.
games correct. I had Kennesaw State in a crazy upset, and they were winning the entire game, and at the very end they blew it. So I don't know. I hold
Xavier.
on
It
to
was
it.
Xavier. Wasn't it Xavier?
Yes. Yes, it was
Yeah.
Xavier, and they should have won. And my bracket would have continued to have been perfect. I would have won
Yeah.
the $1 billion,
That's right.
but no. Kennesaw State blew it. So I take Gonzaga there. I like Miami. I like Miami to beat Missouri, and then I like Miami to beat Purdue. I don't think this is a very good Purdue team, even though they just won the Big Ten. I also think there's some fatigue that comes with winning a conference championship. You play more games, you're more tired. You've already had that exasperated moment of a huge championship. So I don't hate Miami over Purdue at all. I think I will go Texas over BYU, and then I'm going to go Texas over Gonzaga. I really hate Gonzaga. And so this is where it gets interesting. I do think I have Arizona coming out of this region. But I think Miami's the team that surprises people and might get to a Final Four.
So your Final Four is who?
I'm going to go with Arizona, but I
Yeah.
could see a world where Miami is in the Elite Eight and makes a real run at the Final Four. I just don't think they have the star power to get past Arizona.
Yeah.
Fair. So we got Duke and Arizona. Jacob, who you got in your region? Give us a little breakdown
All
here.
right, so I have the Midwest. And this is gonna stink because when I say who I have succeeding here, but Michigan over Howard. Congrats to Howard, by the way. I think they are always the first team to start on the Tuesday at 7 o'clock, and they always lose, but they finally won. Good for Howard. St. Louis, Georgia. Give me St. Louis. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He has other limitless amount of nicknames. He's just this big, chunky white guy that wears glasses and somehow scores the ball limitlessly. I love him. Me and Jack are on the same page here, anti-Akron. And I will say, me and Jack are the biggest Max supporters, but it's just Akron does not perform well in the tournament. And it's not Groyce's fault. It's just, it is what it is. It's not the matchup this year. I'm not going to Akron. Um, Bama is so hard for me because I always, at least for this year, I think the 12 seeds are overseeded and the 13 seeds are underseeded. But I always struggle picking 13 seeds because it never feels like they win. 13s, I feel like the one you get excited about and they just never win. But so I'll take Alabama. Tennessee, just right away, especially if they can get Miami of Ohio, they'll just smoke them. I'll take Virginia over Wright State. But I will say there's one game, it's always a 14 seed, and it's always the 14 seed not a single person on earth is talking about. So
Yeah.
who knows
I
with
think
Wright
it's gonna be
State?
that one.
Santa Clara, because the head coach with Kentucky, he's just stinks. Then Iowa State over Tennessee State. Back to the top, Michigan over St. Louis. Michigan's such a complete team, and again, coaches that win. Dusty May, he's a winner. Um, I have Bama beating Texas Tech. Again, I hate that one, but I just I don't see a world where they go before the Sweet 16. But I don't see a world where they make the Elite Eight. So I think that's just their ceiling. Tennessee over Virginia. As Hunter said, he hates Virginia. I agree, and I love Tennessee, so it's an easy pick for me. And then the big one, Santa Clara takes down Iowa State. Santa Clara, I always want to have a double-digit seed in my Sweet 16, so I'm taking Santa Clara. Really like them. I also think they're slightly underseeded. I'll take Michigan over Bama. I think Michigan probably wins that game 88 to like 71. Like I don't think Bama really gets in that game unless they can get hot from three early and just set the pace of play. And then I have Tennessee over Santa Clara. Then I get Michigan, Tennessee. Great color game, by the way. That yellow on that burnt orange. To get to the Final Four, Rick Barnes cannot get it done, sadly. I really wanted to pick him, but I just think Michigan's too much of a dog, so I'm taking Michigan.
Okay, so right now we got all chalk. We got Duke, Arizona, and that team up north.
Blame
I
NIL.
have the
Nailed that team ourselves.
I have
Can
the
I gotta
South
say
region.
Can I say something real
And
quick?
yeah, go for it.
I'm a big fan of that Cyclones team at the bottom of that Midwest region. Oh man, we'll see with them.
I feel like
We'll see with
everyone
them.
is, though. Everyone loves Iowa State. I guess maybe I'm not seeing
Yeah.
something, but I don't see it. I would like to say I agree with Jack that Arizona comes out of the other bracket. I disagree with Hunter
Yeah.
about Duke in terms
All
of the
right.
chalk.
So I have the South region. I had 5 teams at the beginning of the season that I think could cut down the nets. I had Purdue, Gonzaga, Florida, Houston, and UConn. 2 of those teams were my top 3 with Houston and Florida, and they both fall in this region. So, wasting no more time getting into it. I have Florida obviously winning against the 16th seed. I have Iowa beating Clemson solely just because I think they play in a better conference with better experience, and I like their guard. I always mispronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try to do it. But that coach and him have won legit everywhere, so I'm taking Iowa. I'm taking Vandy over McNeese State, even though I think it would be interesting because everyone was on McNeese State a couple years ago. It always feels like whenever there's that big upset that everyone's picking, it doesn't happen, but then that team cycles back around a few years later and then they eventually win. I could see a sneaky upset there, but I'm still taking Vandy. I think Nebraska beats the brakes off of Troy. I'm seeing everyone saying Troy's got this player that's going to come in and win. No, I like Nebraska a lot there. Unfortunately, I'm taking UNC over VCU. I don't like UNC at all. I like Caleb Wilson. He's an electric personality, but I don't like their team. They're not going to be making it far. As we touched on earlier, I am an Illinois fan. Well, not an Illinois fan, but I'm a fan of this team. So I'm taking them over Penn. And spoiler, they will be making it to my Sweet 16. I'm taking Texas A&M over St. Mary's because, as Jack said, I am very anti-Mountain West, except if their name's Gonzaga. I'm taking Houston over Idaho and probably what will look like an assault on national television. I'm then taking Houston over Texas A&M. They make it to the Sweet 16. They play Illinois, and they will beat Illinois to go to the Elite Eight. I have Nebraska and Vandy. Nebraska is going to win that, I think, comfortably. That's my hot take. I think this Nebraska team's a little bit underrated. I know I see everyone picking them to get upset. I like them cruising to the Sweet 16, where they will then play Florida, who absolutely dismantles Iowa. Florida is so good defensively, especially in pick and roll defense for how large of a team they are. And Iowa's bread and butter, especially late in games, is going to that guard's name that I'm not even going to try to pronounce, as I said earlier. But I just don't see Iowa having any sort of answer offensively for Florida's defense. Give me Florida. I then have Florida and Houston, and every year, and you guys know this, I am always the Houston guy. Samson, Jake was on board with me a lot of the time. Like, I just want to pick them. I just like how they play. They play so hard all the time, the passion that team plays. But every year, they don't get it done. They were part of the reason why I got costed winning a couple of brackets when in the second year of UConn's back-to-back. I had UConn as the winner, and I had Houston, and they lost before I had them losing, and that was like the tiebreaker difference. So with that being said, I'm still picking Houston. Give me Houston. This is the year. They're making it to the Final Four. They're getting there. And with that being said, our Final Four is now Duke versus Houston, if I'm not mistaken. That's how that
Yep.
would work. And then
Yep.
Arizona
Michigan.
versus the team up north. Which
All right.
matchup do
All
we
right.
want to discuss
can-
first to eventually pick our champion?
It's got to be Arizona Houston for the final. I feel like based off this conversation, and no one's going to pick Michigan to the final. At least I'm not doing that.
Okay, so let's
Jacob,
talk about one of the matchups first, and we can vote on it. So let's go. Let's do this. We have Duke Houston. What are our thoughts on that?
I will go here because
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been on with Carter on this Houston train, and I will be on this train until it is off the tracks and Calvin Sampson collapses and dies from a heart attack. I am going to be on that team until they are no longer in the tournament. They were instantly the very first game that I picked was just Houston all the way through and then champion. So I am picking Houston. I'm not the biggest just X and O's college basketball person. I'm taking Houston, their style of play, and if a head coach has earned a national title, it's Calvin Sampson for what he's done in his career at Houston. Also,
Yeah.
in that region with in the West or wherever region they're in, they get home court win in Houston, which I think is huge. Give me Houston.
That's true.
Come on,
They
Calvin
do.
Sampson.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with everything Jake said.
I would
Houston.
also. I'll take Houston.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm obviously not on the Duke train. There's a team in that region that is probably the only team in the country that I would pick Houston over, and I am in my bracket. But you'll have to, follow us to see what team that is. But I'm taking Houston as well, so they make it to the championship. On the other side, we have the team up north versus Arizona, who is currently, I think, the odds-on favorite to win.
Yeah.
Obviously, majority of all of us are Ohio State fans of here. Two of us go to the school. Unbiasedly as possible. Who do we have here?
Yeah, I'll start with this game. I don't care if the team up north has LeBron, Shaq, Kobe, Tim Duncan, and Larry Bird in their starting lineup. I will never pick them to win. I have them losing personally in my Elite Eight. I don't care how good they are. And just to be honest, they've been a little shaky recently. The Big Ten tournament, they did not look that great. And I just think this Iowa State team's elite, but I digress. I think this Arizona team is extremely deep. And I just think they're the best team in the country. I think if this is a Final Four matchup, I do think they beat Michigan by 8 to 10 points.
Yeah, Hunter, you couldn't have said it much better. I would take Iran before I would take Michigan.
Jake?
I didn't like doing this, and now looking at my bracket, I'm thinking about switching it and just putting the burnt orange in there. Because I'd also just love to see
I would love
Rick
that.
Barnes get it
I would
done
love
coaching
that.
wise. But I look at Michigan and I look at the team and they're phenomenal. And then I look at their head coach and he wins. He's a winner. He's a winner in March and he has a proven track record. And I think the point I want to get to with why coaches that are successful in March continue to be successful in March is because they instill that belief in their players. The players, when they're there, they're a little nervous before the game, and their coach instills that confidence, like, guys, I've done this before. This is what we're going to do. We're going to win this game. And I think the players just get along with that. I'm switching it. Just, yeah, well, take Zona. Take Zona. Take Tommy Lloyd, take Zona. I'm putting Tennessee in my Final Four now. That's going to screw me.
Jake, I appreciate you. I appreciate you trying to give some basketball take in there, not just the emotional side, because I know, obviously, like I said at the beginning, we do have the emotional side of it. But it is nice to, get some thought behind it. Here's the thing with Arizona. They've faced
Hunter and I. It's crazy.
It's not an attack. I just said I understand the emotional side of it.
One more pick. Thank you, Jake.
I just said I understand the side of it, but if all four of us just say we don't like the team up north,
We move.
You tried to
go.
dress up like it was nothing. That was crazy.
Carter, go.
Arizona has dealt with adversity this season, and I haven't seen a game where their offensive leaders have gone quiet. especially in big moments.
They're so good.
And watching the OSU Team Up North game in the Big Ten tournament, Yaxel, is that how you pronounce his
Axel
name?
Wendenberg.
Did I get that right?
Yes.
Look at me, man. Great player down the stretch. And you can do that against a team who needs Bruce Thornton to ascend to heights of basketball performance we've never seen in order to just make the tournament. You're not going to be able to do that against a team like Arizona.
Yeah.
And I do like some of the Team Up North sets. I think they're very well coached, especially offensively. They use the pieces they have really, really well. But with that being said, I'm taking Arizona. And so, in our national championship, our combined national championship, we have Arizona, Houston. Who's got their first thoughts?
Cougs.
You know, I want to say
Sensible
Arizona.
pick.
I think Arizona, but yeah, F it. I'll go the Cougs. Why not? I would love to see Calvin Sampson win one. I'll back the Cougs. That's more emotional. I think Arizona's a better basketball team, but when has the better basketball team ever won anything?
Well, I've just been told that, I can't think, so I'll go emotion here. Go Cougs.
We got
Gosh,
the
I want the
Cougs,
Cougs to win so bad.
Who told you can't think?
You told Hunter and I we can't think.
Okay. I'm not even gonna engage into that rage bait.
Clip it.
The Cougs are the front of these champs. The Cougs.
I will take the Cougars
Gosh,
as
I'd
well.
be so happy.
Who's watching the women's tournament this year? There they go. Oh, is that Pete? Oh,
I'll probably watch the Lady Buckeyes play.
Stupid dog.
Jacob, wrap us up.
Anyway, hold on.
Sorry,
I would
Carter,
like
you
to
can please finish your take.
Getting railroaded off the episode here. I like the Cougars as well. I mean, I just think they actually legitimately have a chance of winning it. And there's always, like Hunter said, the storyline. There's always got to be some team that has that plot armor. And I think Houston definitely has a chance.
A lot of thought there
this year.
Good thought.
Yeah. All right, bro. Like, whatever. The last thing I want to say, there is an app. We got approached to use it. I'm going to try it out. It's called Brack Track. So if you use multiple platforms or have multiple different brackets, you can track all of them simultaneously and tells you which game or which team you should be rooting for, which game that benefits most of your brackets. So, final question before Jacob wraps us up here. What is the appropriate number of brackets you should make?
1.
2 to 3.
1. There's only one answer. It's 1.
2 to 3.
I agree. 2 to 3.
2 to 3.
I think my answer is 3. I think you have 1 you're most confident in. The number 2 is like some of the tweener picks you don't really like and you go another way. The Tennessee Team Up North scenario Jacob just talked about. And then the third is I will forever do this. If the Buckeyes are in the tournament, they are winning one of my brackets. There was nothing like watching Dayton beat Ohio State when I was like 5 and I popped my Ohio State basketball, said I was never playing the sport again because I had them winning it all, and then somehow getting the rest of my bracket right and finishing second in my pool. And
that's good.
I want to give a very, very quick shout out to a good friend, Grayson Wolf. He put out a TikTok the other day. What's the appropriate amount of brackets to make? And he had the correct answer. Be a man. You be a man, you make one bracket, all your picks. That's it. One bracket. Couldn't agree more.
I'm pretty sure in the tournament challenge we did last year.
You've got to be kidding me, Jake.
Jacob's gone.
All right, wrap this up. We got to go.
Wrap this up. Jacob, wrap us up.
Jacob, can't hear it.
Last thing before I close out, I will like to say, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. You got it.
Oh, I thought crazy you couldn't hear me. I will say, there's going to be a moment in March Madness where you're going to be looking at your bracket and you're like, everything's ruined. My team I thought was going to win it all stinks. When you're in that moment, take a second, just take a step back and we're in March, embrace it. We're a limited amount of marches, all right? You don't know how many marches you got left. Enjoy it. But thanks for listening. We're in March. Let's enjoy it. We'll see you later.